Hey, Catalyst, do you ever feel that the advice we got in our medical training was here is your job. Now try to survive and build a life around it? You can't argue. Even though it wasn't written in our syllabus, I feel like it was implied. Look at the burnout rates, look at the number of practitioners leaving medicine altogether. And I'm here to suggest a different shift. We need to be able to say, here's your life. Now let's build a job that honors it. And that is what today's episode is about. We'll start with a personal story, and then we'll launch into some insights from my Catalyst mentees about how we are able to design careers that enliven us, that support our dreams, and allow life to take center stage instead of the other way around. So let's dive in and color outside the lines. Welcome to The Catalyst Way, the podcast for women clinicians ready to clear the chaos and create space to flourish. I'm Dr. Lara Salyer, a former burned out family practice doctor turned mentor, author, and professional calendar whisperer. I help women in medicine reclaim time, trust their intuition, and build practices that actually fit their lives. Each week, you'll get practical tools, creative strategies, and tiny shifts that help you color outside the lines and paint a work-life masterpiece, authentic, aligned joy. So today's episode begins in the front seat of my Toyota RAV4, where I'm driving once again to Chicagoland to help my elderly parents. I'm the sandwich generation that I know a lot of listeners are. We are launching kids into the world. We are trying to support our elderly parents as they age, and it can be too much. One of the reasons I stopped my traditional family medicine job back in 2016, was because I could sense not only was it not fulfilling my creativity and the way I wanted to deliver medicine, I was yearning for more, but I also needed time freedom. I didn't know it at the time, but I'm very grateful that I launched my functional medicine membership because it allowed some time flexibility. And so here I was in the front seat of my Toyota RAV4 and wondering why I felt so awful. I felt almost like I was back in burnout. And I probably was. Burnout is easy to ignite in any phase of your life, even if things are exactly how you'd like them. Life happens. But I could feel the emotional exhaustion, low perceived achievement, right? And depersonalization. Like I had lost myself. I didn't see myself in the various jobs I had, which is local patient care in my functional medicine membership, mentoring with the Catalyst Studio, mentoring with the School of Applied Functional Medicine. I love being a citizen, a mom, a sister. I wanted to be all these things. And it felt like in this moment, clutching the wheels, it was almost as if my car was a struggle bus. I'm riding the struggle bus pretty fiercely over some potholes. Probably have some printed out MapQuest directions in the passenger seat and I don't know, maybe some Skittles on the floorboards. It wasn't feeling like my best self. Not that we have to be our best self all the time. And we talk about this a lot inside my mentorship. It's not about perfection and it's not about being the best self every part of your day, but it's also about looking at who's driving the bus. And right now, it was somebody who was tired, who was abandoning herself for everybody else. And those flavors are very familiar. I remember that. And instead of putting in my Audible book, which is phenomenal, by the way, The Midnight Library by Matt Haig, so good. I highly recommend it. I just sat in silence as I drove this familiar road, which is about a 2-hour drive, and thought, what would it look like if my life was easier or simpler? The answer intuitively came to me because when you're in those deep moments with yourself and all your parts, perhaps maybe my tired, fatigued, kind of doormatty self was driving this car, fulfilling obligations for everybody else, but really not pouring into my cup. It's really intuitively vibrant to have these discussions with yourself, your inner self. And so I thought, what would my life look like if it was easier? But before I give you my epiphany that I found on I-95, driving towards Chicagoland. I'll save that to the end. I'm going to share how I use this prompt inside our studio masterminds. We have these every Friday with our catalysts. And the prompt that I started this conversation was, how does your clinical practice support the life you want to lead? And we paused, and then we shared all these wonderful things that are working out for us because we are building a life first and a practice that supports it second. So I'm just capturing some of these amazing things that our catalyst shared. I wrote them down during the session. I take summers off. I get to choose my patients and who I want to work with. I only work 2 days a week seeing patients. I can say yes to school plays, snow days, and random adventures. I never miss my kids' sports activities. I practice good medicine my way. And that lit me up. These are just a sample. And I love that this is often hidden in most medical practices, especially if it's a traditional insurance-based practice. Or if you're with a large organization, you don't get to say these things. And these are all possible because we are doing things differently. We are using a membership model to deliver beautiful supportive care for patients, but also life for practitioners. We then went on and talked briefly why this is working, right? Membership allows you to have that recurring income. You're not trying to sell all the time, You start to create this ecosystem that supports and welcomes change and a step back, because people aren't just going to automatically get better and better and better. There's going to be times where they need support again. And so it creates this buttress with amazing opportunities that you can dial up or down however much or little support somebody needs. You also have control over your patient panel size, and you can be seasonal. We have practitioners that do different things in the summer than they do in the winter. You can build the container for your work, not the institution. You're building your life's work. And you basically get to respond instead of react. You can choose to change the rules if they're no longer suiting you. You can change when you want to work if it's no longer fitting your current station or season in life. And this is a sneak peek, and I guess I'll just tell you because I can't keep secrets. This is what my epiphany was, is as I'm driving in that car in the struggle bus, I realized that the model I had built 8 years ago with group visits, with certain timed things. I had group visits every Thursday for my daughter was in dance class. So I had them on Thursday at 6 because, I was in town anyway. And so many things had shifted over the last 8 years. I was still operating on some old assumptions. The assumptions I had were that I needed to have all my schedule Monday through Friday open. It's like it had crept in. Instead of having patient-facing days and then non-patient-facing days, I had sort of opened everything up so it could be accommodating as many schedules as possible. I was now doing twice a week open office hours because it works better. It's like a help desk, and I actually like that. But I also noticed that was my biggest issue, is that I had become available to everybody in all the different jobs, in all the different days. And right then, if I could answer that question, if my life could be easier, it would be having specific days for specific roles that I play. Patient-facing days, mentoring days, networking days, hidden admin days that I might need to do some invisible work. And the minute I felt that, I felt much better in my body. I could tell that is a good start. It may not be the complete cure of pedaling outside of burnout, because remember, I talk about this all the time. Burnout happens no matter what. Even if you are doing everything right, you have fulfilling relationships, people can burn out. And it's a self-abandonment. It is a grief in your brain. The way that you feel like life should have been this way, but you're feeling this way. So it's up to you to recognize those flames of burnout before you're sitting in the fire. And the minute I remembered, I could make my schedule a little easier again. I think I had crept a little open with my boundaries a bit, and that made me feel better. I think there's common barriers that we all have. And this is something we discussed in Catalyst Studio. The bottom line is this is not a set it and forget it item. We talked about it's often common to see some barriers pop up, and we need to give ourselves permission to release them. Here's some common barriers that our catalysts shared with each other. Sometimes we feel guilty for not working full time, especially if we have a spouse or partner that does, or friends that are also in the medical profession and they can't believe, what? How are you doing this just working part time? You're not a real doctor, a real nurse practitioner, a real PA. Because our system is built on RVUs, and that only monetizes and gives bonuses to those that are workaholics, pretty much. There's also this fear that you're not doing enough, that we're leaving our skills and our teachings and our healing power untapped unless we bleed out all day, every day on social media to anybody walking by. We are there to help. We are just this open vessel that anybody can access at any time. Because after all, everybody deserves healthcare, right? So we have this internalized fear that we're just not doing enough if we decide to only work 2 days a week, or to say no to late hours or early hours or whatever is designed around your life. And you have permission to deny that. You are doing enough. Enough is defined by you. Enough is something that you can co-create with your mentor, like me, or your financial planner. What amount do you need to live that's enough? And then you design a career that supports that. And if it means you have 2 public facing patient days, then you're good. Move on, right? Divorce yourself from these old ideologies that say we need to be there 24/7. We also had these worries that patients wouldn't follow us. Some of our practitioners were leaving their organizations, starting on their own, making their own life dreams happen with their functional medicine membership. And they would worry, before they let go of that monkey bar, where are they going to find them on the other side? And this is one of the magical things that I love about masterminds, is you get people at all different stages of this. So we had a lot of veterans saying, oh, I had the same fears, and it works out. People follow you. And there's ways to design opportunities for people that maybe if they can't afford you, you can offer lower scholarships or group classes, things that can give you an opportunity to share your wisdom at a lower price point. And it's fun because you're creating this world. This is all you. And then the last one is the pressure to keep saying yes, right? Always saying yes to every new patient, every new project or relationship, affiliate. And we really need to protect that. Protect the yes. The yes should feel like the highest currency. You should say a lot more no's. And that was the other thing I'd realized in my struggle bus, is I was saying a lot more yeses. So, inflation, it wasn't worth very much now. My yeses had gotten a little too common. My work had started to creep into my weekend. We talked about that. That happens to a lot of us. And some catalysts said, my mindless scrolling got out of hand, or I made space for my hobbies, but then never did them. I made excuses. Oh, I'm too busy, or I filled that space with something else that I thought needed my attention. And all of us could share in this very just transformative session how we're all human and we're all just trying to live a beautiful life that is balanced, but there is no balance. There's no such thing as a work-life balance. It's a dance. Sometimes you're going to step on your own toes, and it's up to you to pause and count the beats and the music and then just jump right back in. Whew, let's take a quick breather. Do you ever feel like your brain is fried and your calendar is out of control? I get it. That's why I created the Catalyst Advantage. These are private one-on-one mentoring sessions where we come together and help you untangle your chaos, realign with your purpose, and build a plan that fits you. It's like coaching with strategy and intuition and a dash of neuroscience magic. I want you to flourish, and I can't wait to meet you. You can learn more at drlarasalyer.com/catalyst. So my catalyst question for you today is to reflect on your intuitive answer. If you designed your practice around supporting your ideal life, what would you change first? Now, this is fantasy land. You might be listening to me driving in an hour commute to your hospitalist job, and you're thinking, I have no desire to change my job right now. And that's totally fair. I support women in medicine who want to clear the chaos and create space to flourish. I love mentoring women physicians that are just looking to live a better life. You don't have to be a functional medicine physician running a membership practice. I love supporting women in medicine, just understanding their deeper desires and filling in those gaps and deficiencies where they weren't doing the things that they loved. So if you are that hospitalist sitting in the car, driving in traffic, what would you change? One thing about your work cadence right now? Would it be, oh, if I had a magic wand, I would love to take 4 weeks off every summer to visit friends in Europe? Play with that idea. How could you make it happen? If that's too big of a thing, what small thing can you change in your day that moves it towards your practices supporting the life that you want to live? Whether it's work hours, more time with your kids or family, less laundry, hiring a house cleaner, whatever it is, start thinking about that, because that's truly the real reason we are here, is to be the best version of ourselves so that our patients benefit. We are not meant to burn out in the flames and become these victims of time, depletion. We deserve abundance in time, energy, and a calendar that's just popping full of colors of whatever lights you up. I would love to hear your answers to this catalyst question. Drop them below. Share this episode with a colleague who you think might need a little inspiration. And definitely check out all the features we have in the show notes. There's extra links, including the book that I recommended that I'm reading. And I'd love to connect with you. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and I'm intermittently on TikTok. So please give a shout out and continue coloring outside the lines, because you deserve a life of abundance. Thanks for listening to The Catalyst Way, where we clear the chaos and create space to flourish in medicine and life. If today's episode lit a spark in you, your next step is to go take the Catalyst Archetype quiz. It's fun, free, and freakishly accurate. Go to drlarasalyer.com/create. In less than 5 minutes, you'll uncover your burnout risk, your creative strengths, and work rhythms that energize you. Because it's not about finding a perfect plan, but rather flowing with the one that fits you. Go to drlarasalyer.com/create. And remember, teeny shifts create massive impact. So keep coloring outside those lines.